Night, April 13th, 1945. A Dutch city sleeps under Nazi occupation. The streets are silent, windows are dark, and somewhere in the distance, boots echo on wet cobblestones. But tonight, something is wrong. Gunshots crack through the darkness. A grenade explodes near the town square. German soldiers rush into the streets, shouting orders. They think an entire Canadian army has entered the city. But they are wrong, because the man moving through the shadows is only one soldier. His name is Leo Major, and before the night ends, he will liberate an entire city alone. How did one man convince an army to flee? Welcome to Echoes of Valour X, where the forgotten voices of war still speak. Tonight, we uncover the story of a soldier who should not have been fighting at all. By 1945, he had already lost an eye, broken bones, survived explosions. Any other soldier would have been sent home, but not Leo Major. Instead, he became something else, a ghost in the night, a one-eyed scout who walked into enemy territory alone. And on one cold night in the Netherlands, he did something almost impossible. He liberated the city of Zwolle by himself. Leo Major was not supposed to become a legend. He was born in 1921 to a poor French-Canadian family. By the time the world collapsed into war, he was just another young man with nothing waiting for him at home. So he enlisted. And like millions of others, he crossed the Atlantic to fight in Europe. But war has a way of changing men, sometimes violently. During brutal fighting near the French city of Caen, a German grenade exploded near him. White phosphorus burned through the air. When the smoke cleared, Leo Major was blind in his left eye. Doctors told him the war was over for him.
The doctor said I should go home, said a sniper needs 2 eyes. I told him he was wrong. I only need 1.
So, Leo refused evacuation. He tied a bandage over his ruined eye and returned to the battlefield. The soldiers began to whisper about him. The one-eyed scout, the man who walked through enemy lines like a ghost. But even they had no idea what he would do next. April 1945. The war in Europe was collapsing. All across the Netherlands, German forces were retreating. But the city of Zwolle remained occupied. German troops still controlled the streets, machine guns guarded the roads, and civilians waited in silence, hoping the war would pass them by. Canadian commanders wanted to attack, but there was a problem. If artillery opened fire on the city, hundreds of civilians might die. So they needed reconnaissance. Someone had to slip into the city first, find the German positions, report back. 2 scouts volunteered, Leo Major and his close friend. They crossed the dark countryside after midnight. The city walls appeared ahead. The mission was simple. Go in, observe, return. But war rarely follows the plan. As the 2 men moved through the shadows, German soldiers spotted them. Gunfire erupted, and within seconds, Leo's friend was dead.
I remember the sound when he fell. Not the gunshot, just the sound of his body hitting the street.
Leo Major stood alone, deep inside enemy territory. Most soldiers would retreat. Leo did something else. He picked up his weapon and walked deeper into the city. Leo Major had an idea, a crazy one. If the Germans believed a full Canadian assault had begun, they might retreat. So he decided to create chaos. He ran through the streets firing his rifle. Grenades exploded in alleyways, windows shattered. German patrols rushed toward the noise, but each time they arrived, the mysterious attacker had vanished.
I kept moving, always moving. Shoot, run, disappear, shoot again somewhere else.
German soldiers began to panic. They reported Canadian troops everywhere. Machine gun crews abandoned positions. Officers shouted conflicting orders, and Leo Major kept moving through the city like a storm. At one point, he even captured a German driver. He forced the man to bring him to a local officer. Inside a dimly lit bar, Leo confronted the officer. Then he made a bold gamble. He told him the truth and a lie.
I told him Canadian artillery would destroy the city at dawn. If his men stayed, The city would burn.
The officer believed him. Word spread quickly, and by the early hours of morning, German forces began withdrawing, not because of an army, but because of one man in the dark. By sunrise, the streets of Zwolle were silent. No gunfire, no German patrols. The occupation was over. Civilians slowly stepped outside. They looked around the empty streets and realized something impossible had happened. The Germans were gone.
When the sun came up, I was the only soldier in the city.
One man, one night, one city, liberated. For his actions, Leo Major received the Distinguished Conduct Medal. But medals were never the point. He simply shrugged when asked about it later. To him, it was just another night in the war. War is filled with massive battles, armies, generals, tanks. But sometimes, history turns on the actions of a single human being. A soldier, walking alone through the darkness. A man who refused to quit. The people of Zwolle never forgot him. Even today, they still remember the one-eyed Canadian who saved their city. His name was Leo Major, and his story echoes through history. If you want to hear more forgotten stories of courage and sacrifice, subscribe to Echoes of Valour X, because some voices from war should never be forgotten.